Well, let's now move to the world of literature. And one of Israel's most important writers, famed for authoring dozens of books that have been translated into 20 languages, has died. Aharon Appelfeld was an acclaimed author whose works often revolved around the Holocaust and Jewish life. Culture correspondent Maya Margit takes a look back at that life and his thoughts on the Holocaust, politics, and death.
He was one of Israel's most prolific writers, whose works, translated into dozens of languages, looked at European Jewish life before, during, and after World War II. Aharon Appelfeld passed away at the age of 85 on Thursday. Born in Romania in 1932, Appelfeld escaped a concentration camp in Germany when he was just a young boy. For years he lived in the woods in Ukraine, surviving off berries and finding shelter wherever he could. The Holocaust would come to dominate many of his books.
It was a fight against barbarism. You see, the society became barbaric, not only the Germans. And the victims were, of course, the Jewish people.
After the war was over, Appelfeld immigrated to pre-state Israel in 1946. It was in his teens that he would learn Hebrew, the language he used later to write all his fiction in, and become one of the most important Hebrew language writers of the 20th century. Appelfeld won several important literary awards during his life. The prestigious Israel Prize for Literature in 1983, more recently, in 2012, the Independent Foreign Fiction Prize in London for his book Blooms of Darkness. In 2013, he was a Man Booker International Prize finalist. Much of what Appelfeld wrote was based on his life, some novels looking back at his harrowing childhood in Ukraine during the Second World War, others reflecting on pre-Holocaust Jewish life in Europe. But for the acclaimed writer, it was important to keep politics out of his work.
Most of my books are not about Israel, because there are people here who want to explain themselves, not in political terms, but in literary terms.
As Appelfeld himself once said, death is not the end of life, though it's a shame it goes by so quickly.
It's a pity that we are living, that life is always short, you see, and we are passing. We are here and we are passing.
Maya Margit, I-24 News.